Right guys, welcome back to another full day of trading. It's been a good couple of weeks at least since I've done the last one, so this is going to be a part 3 to what I've already started to build. Could be a series, to be honest. I'm just going to keep doing this as things go forward, and I think it's just a good way to just document my progress and the mindset and just everything else that comes and develops from that. So looking forward to seeing how these videos develop over time. But yeah, so I'm in one trade. It's Tuesday morning. I'm in one trade, I'm in pound dollar. I took 2 trades yesterday, so I took a small win on pound dollar and then a loss. Can't remember what pair the loss was on. Pound yen. I've added in pound yen, by the way. So I've got rid of Aussie dollar. So before I had euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar was definitely not performing as great as the other two, clearly not. The strike rate was a lot lower, the performance was a lot lower, the P&L was a lot lower, and overall I just wasn't really too happy with it. It may change in a few months, I may go back to that pair and really like it, but for now, and based on the data that I've collected over the past 3 months, based on the trades taken for my personal journal, it's just not worth having in there. I was happy just to stick with the 2 pairs and just get rid of Aussie dollar. But then I just started playing around with a few different pairs because I do like having 3 pairs. I think it gives me a nice wide range of, to be able to take trades but then not too much. So I was playing around with pound yen because I always remembered it being like a really nice pair. It can be very, very corrective in parts, but when it moves, it really moves. And I find higher time frames really play out really well. So I was playing around with that and I started to test it a little bit, track some data, forward test it, and it seems to be really good. So I added that in. Early days, I haven't really taken too many wins on it just yet. I've taken a couple of small ones. The rest have been break-evens and a couple of losses here and there. So I think I've only taken like 5-6 trades in total so far over the past couple of weeks on it. But I'm just going to let the data play out, let the sequence of trades play out, and then I'll see what happens going forward on that. But back to the story. I'm in pound dollar. It's running nicely. I'm just waiting for the next phase to play out. So basically, I got in at the top. It was around about 802, to be exact. To be honest, price has come down. Now we're just in the correction phase, so all I'm waiting for is that next leg down, hopefully. So I'm just going to see what happens. Whether or not it does is completely out of my control, obviously, but I'm just going to manage the trade accordingly as price develops. I do think personally we will get that break, so it's just whether we get like an impulsive break showing continuation, or we get a liquidity grab just showing a potential reversal. So from that point forward, I'm just going to manage the trade, see how things play out. But overall, something that I've learned from going through data is I need to let the winners run. So for example, let me show you on the chart now. Right, so something that I picked up from the trades that I'm taking is as follows. So obviously we can see this is the 1 hour time frame. Price is very bearish. It's the same on the higher time frames as well. So quick look at the daily, that price is very bearish. So just following that direction and playing that. But let's say for example, right, I'm looking for a trade, I'm looking for continuation plays around these areas here, right? Just looking to actually just continue with it and just play these moves. Let's say for example, I'm looking at this trade here, right? Let's just take this as a typical example. Let's say I'm in this move. Let's say on the lower time frames I'm in this move here. So let me just mark this with an arrow so you can actually see, right? Let's say for example I'm actually in that trade. What I found is that I'm cutting my winners short because the direction is still bearish. Just following simple order flow, just simple trend direction really. You've got lower lows, lower highs, and you're just looking for that to continue unless something changes. So obviously looking for that potential lower high here, the first target is really going to be the swing. So, just maximizing on that, knowing that, holding the trade until this level as a minimum, unless something changes clearly on the lower time frames, then that becomes a target obviously. But what I've been doing is aggressively managing too much. The lower time frames change, but then, the vast majority of the time this target will be met, as you can see in this instance. So, instead of walking away with a lot more than I could have, then I'm going away with just a short amount of profit. Let's say I'll say it's a short amount of profit, but let's say it's like 5 to 7R, right? But the target here is like 12 to 17 or something like that. I could be maximizing on that a little bit more. So what I'm thinking is going forward is just letting the winners run a little bit more, and just allowing the edge to play out a little bit more than I currently am doing. So that's my focus going into next year. That's the focus for me ending out this year as well, just to try and get a few of those trades under my belt. Currently in one right now. I'm going to see how it plays out. It could take time for that to play out. I think eventually it will, based on the fact that the swing low has not amounted to anything. So I'm expecting that low to be taken at some point and just continue that overall trend direction. But we'll see what happens. But I'm just getting practice and just actually testing with that, experimenting with a few of these, and just getting some confidence under my belt with actually holding trades, because I used to hold trades all the time on the 1 hour time frame. The 1 hour time frame, the daily time frame, that was my fundamental style trading structure. But obviously using the lower time frames now, it's easy to manage on those time frames too, which I kind of use a combination of lower time frames and higher time frames to manage and enter trades anyway. But I feel like when it comes to management, I'm very keen to lock in profit. So it's not a bad thing. I'm a big believer in paying yourself, because I don't want to let a 10 hour trade pull back to break even. I'm not really about that. I'd rather pay myself. However, there's a line in the sand as well. If you're missing out on these moves because you're not maximizing your edge, then there could be a problem there. So yeah, that's the focus for me going forward. I'm going to keep testing that, experimenting with that, and keep improving with that as well. Right, so this is on the 5 minute time frame. I'm live in this trade since here. So this is from around about 8 a.m. this morning. This is pound dollar, and happy with the trade so far. So obviously took a partial at 3-1, which I usually do for 20% of the volume. Prices obviously come down. Clear direction is bearish on the higher time frames and the lower time frames now. We've had this pullback, which is why I allowed price to pull back. So entry point is here, stop was originally above these highs here, trailed to break even, then trailed further down to lock in a little bit of profit, but didn't want to trail too much because obviously I was sensing a bigger pullback, and this low now has never really created a new swing or anything. So I'm happy to let this play out, and I'm thinking, okay, if this breaks, especially impulsively as well, that's when I'll then trail my stop down to around this area here above that high and just continue with the trade. So overall target for the trade is down here, as you can see, this red line on MT4. So basically this is the 4 hour swing low. Now it's quite a way off. I'm gonna have a look in pips on here. I mean, it's currently around about 41 pips away. So it's still quite a while away, but we'll see what happens. And that's the main target for this trade. There will be targets along the way as price moves down, but I'm really trying to focus on actually holding trades, because the amount of trades where price will have just a lower time frame trend shift essentially, and I'm taking profit, the amount of times where that I will actually run on and actually meet target, I've started to notice quite a common pattern within trades that I take. So really going to focus going into 2022 on actually holding them trades and letting the target play out, and just backing myself a little bit more in terms of trusting that the trades will play out, and if they don't, it's part of the edge. So that's what I'm focused on going forward. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on this. I'm just going to let it play out, and I'm going to crack on with other things whilst I'm waiting for this position. Right, so just a little bit of an update. So price has broken that low which I was talking about before. So price has broken the low. Just going to keep paying attention to what happens next, but obviously everything is still bearish. I'm just going to hold the trade unless anything really changes. So yeah, just a quick update. It's now just gone 12:05, so New York Open has already started. I'm already in this trade. I'm watching euro dollar potentially, but it's not developing yet, so I'm just keeping my eyes on that, and nothing's developing on pound yen either, so I'm just waiting on euro dollar potentially. If that develops, I'll let you know, and then just managing this trade on pound dollar. I'm not looking for any other trades on this pair for now, just looking to manage this trade, and then crack on with other work that I've got to do for the rest of this afternoon. Right, so I said I'd update you if I took any more trades. I've just taken a long on EU. As you can see, it's quite close to the bottom of the move, so I'm just going to see how that plays out. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update. The trade formed. I was watching the pair. The trade formed, seeing the setup, placed the limit order, took the trade, and now I'm in the trade. Whether this is a win, break even, loss doesn't really matter. It's just you have to give the sequence of trades time to play out. If you're feel like when you're picking and choosing too much, everyone's going to have a different style, whether that's mechanical, discretionary. I would say mine's more discretionary for sure, but there's ways of mechanicalizing the style that you trade essentially. So that's what I've tried to do as much as possible, but at the same time leave myself enough space and energy to be able to flow and create and just be in that flow state essentially. But yeah, the setup formed, took the trade, and now I'm in the trade. So just going to see how this plays out. And yeah, I'll give you an update in a bit. Pound dollar still running, for now at least anyway. And I've given it quite a lot of room to breathe, so I'm just going to keep my close eye on that. And it may seem contradictory taking a long on EU but then being the short on GU. It's just sometimes how it plays out. Obviously took the short from the top on pound dollar. Pound dollar's at an area right now where it could potentially reverse, but it could be a short-term reaction essentially. So, but you never know, could be a reversal, and that's why I took the long on EU as well. So yeah, I don't really try and correlate things too much because I feel like when you do that, you get in your own head, and it's very easy to confuse things and just overcomplicate things. When really, if you look back on the setup in your ASR, your journal, let's say you miss a trade because you just correlated things too much. It's like, oh, okay, why didn't I just take that trade? If you take the pair on its own merit, you just take the trade. So I don't try and correlate things too much, although I'm very aware of correlation. I just don't try and get in my own head too much, if that makes sense. But I'll keep you updated on the trade. I'm gonna hit the gym soon, but ideally I can take some risk off the table on EU. If not, I'll figure it out, and I'm gonna go to the gym at some point soon. Ideally though, before I train, I like to remove the risk, or just stay and observe the trade for a little bit, because I don't really like manage the trades in the gym. So yeah, that's the plan. Right, so it's $1:15. I've got risk removed on euro dollar, so that's sorted. So I may be taken out, but it's fine. I'm completely happy with that. Paying attention to the message for the market at the lower time frames. So if I do get taken out of euro dollar, it is what it is. But I've got risk removed at this point. And then pound dollar, I've got stock trailed a little bit tighter, but I've also got it above a swing point. So if price breaks that, I'd happily be out the trade anyway. But at the same time, I'm giving it more than enough room to breathe to allow the higher time frames to play out. If not, I'm happy to get out the trade and bank some profit, and then we move on to tomorrow. So that's the main agenda for today. I'm going to hit the gym very soon, and then when I come back, I'm going to crack on with a lot more select other projects and stuff. But I'll still be managing these trades or pound dollar. I'm very close to be taking out the break even on euro dollar now. Few pips away, and then that's the plan for today really. So that's what I'll update you with. But yeah, I'm very close to be taken out for break even on euro dollar, as you can see. Very, very close now. Yep, break even on euro dollar. So I'm just going to take a screenshot. But I'm more than happy with the trade because I stuck to my plan in terms of management. There's no way I'm just letting that risk stay on the table in that situation. And it may look aggressive because it is the lower time frames, but I know my plan and I'm sticking to my plan. So that's the main thing. So yeah, happy with that. Break even on euro dollar. It did start to run, so we did get a reaction, nice reaction, but it just didn't really follow through into anything significant. Therefore, that's when I removed the risk from the table. So it's all about capital preservation, and then pound dollar is still running. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna hit the gym and I'll catch up with you all soon.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand, bang got my hand. Call killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand. Call
Right, I am back from the gym now, so it's just gone 5 p.m. The volume's obviously going to be dying down soon. I'm still in the trade. It's running around just under 10R. I'm going to show you on the chart in a minute. It's running around 10R, just above. And at one point it was around about 15. Target was just above 15 for the area that I was potentially looking to partial out at. And then the second target, which is the main target, which is a 4-hour swing low, has not been touched, but that's the target of just over 18R. So gonna see how price plays out. It's very likely I hold this overnight. It's been a long time since I held a trade overnight. I'm talking a good, I don't even know, good 6 months, 12 months. It's been a long time. So I'm keen to experiment tonight, see if just how I feel holding trades overnight as well. The reason I haven't held trades is because usually I'll close them within 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. It's rare that I just hold trades overnight, just due to my style evolving over time and stuff like that, and entering on the lower time frames. I like to pay myself now, but at the same time I'm really trying to make an effort, like I said before, to really hold trades when necessary to play the higher time frames in the direction of the trend. So yeah, gonna play around with it a little bit. Obviously it's the end of the year, so I've got 2-3 weeks to kind of experiment with things, but I'd like for this to be settled by 2022, so I can go into 2022 with that mindset of like, okay, if I'm catching a higher low or a lower high, just hold the trade to target and don't be faffing around with too many short-term partials along the way, because I feel like when you partial out, the trade volume obviously minimizes, and I feel like what would have been 10R is now down to like 6, 7R, if that. So yeah, I think I like the partial at 3 to 1 because it takes the risk off the table, but any more than that, apart from the target, just like minimizes the volume far too much in my opinion. So yeah, I've been playing around with that a little bit. But yeah, let me show you what the chart would look like. Right, so this is the position on pound dollar. So overall higher time frames and lower time frames are predominantly bearish, which means I'm looking for sells naturally. And as we can see, we've got, marked in here, I've got, lower highs, lower lows, anticipating a lower high, which has been formed potentially here, but just playing the lower time frames to the downside now. And my first target for the trade was here. Price didn't quite get there, just by a couple pips. Which means to me that this is just generating liquidity for this to be taken at some point in the near future. So we will see, but price can move up to the upside, which is why I've trailed my stop above this lower time frame swing high as well. So just going to keep monitoring on that. But yeah, like I said, this is my first target, but this is my main target. This is where I'll be looking to close down the trade. I'm just happy with that. So I've got a TP here, so it's just set below here. So if price triggers that, then I'll be out the trade for just above 18R, which is solid, and I'm risking 0.3%. Plus you have to factor in that I've taken a partial 3 to 1, so it's a little bit less volume, but still decent. And it'll be really nice. And then that first target is obviously 15. But once again, if none of that materializes and I walk away with 5.26R, then it is what it is, but I'm happy and it's still a decent start to the week. stuck to my plan, stuck to everything I know, and that's the main aim of the game. It's not too much the outcome of the trade, it's more so the process, and the outcome will figure itself out over time, especially as you take more and more trades, especially as you become more disciplined and just take the trades and just allow that edge, allow that sequence of wins to losses to play out. So that is the position itself. Like I said, I'm probably going to be holding this overnight because it's 5 p.m. right now. We've got like, what's that, 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours until spread hours, swap hours. So I'm probably going to be holding this overnight. I'm going to see how things develop over the next few hours, but it will be low volume now because obviously New York is ending, London's long gone. So there's not much volume in the markets right now anyway. Leading into Asia, the volume may pick up, but it could be very corrective overnight, and then London tomorrow will obviously kick off a lot more momentum. So just going to see what happens, but that is my thoughts on the position. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep you updated because I'll probably tune out the video here, or probably tune out today's clip here anyway, and then next time, or when I close the trade, I'll give you an update and let you know how it's formed, what's happened, and what I walked away with essentially. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for the next clip, which should be at the end of the video. Right, so it's the morning after, so we're just during London session right now. It's 8:45 and I was taken out at around about 3:45 a.m. last night for a 5.34R trade. So solid position. It's a shame that it didn't fulfill full target, but at the same time, you can't attach yourself to the outcome. It's more about just taking trades, taking the sequence of wins and losses, and your edge will play out. You can't set expectations when it comes to, this should do this, or this should do that, or this shouldn't do that. So happy with the trade overall. I still manage it in the exact same way. Basically put my stop loss above this swing high here and lower time frames. So price obviously tapped up into that and just pushed lower. But I'm happy with that trade. I'm happy with the management. And yeah, I was just giving this a little bit more room to breathe because it's something I'm testing, and obviously in the past I probably would have been out around here as price started turning, but however at the same time the amount of trades that do that and then absolutely go, I'm just weighing up the pros and cons of both, and I'm trying to hold more trades in certain environments like this. So yeah, something I'm working on, certainly still work in progress. Haven't taken any trades this morning. It looks like there's nothing developing as of yet. But yeah, overall, hope you all enjoyed the video and pay attention for the next one. I'll speak to you all soon.